Hey everybody, welcome to Business Unleashed. My name is Katie Gonzalez and your host. And today you're gonna have an amazing day with some amazing speaker today. They're gonna join us today. For example, here, my first guest is Carolee McDonald. Let me read her bio. She's amazing. And Carolee McDonald is a 16 award-winning TV director, radio host, jazz guitarist. I'm sorry, English is my first language, sister. And composer, Polaris Music Prize juror. She is in she instructs and coaches guitarists, creators, writers, nonprofit business on the rise, musician, and new film directors. She has been an active shot spotlight television volunteer, learning from 2015 to 2022 with Todd John. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Katie. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's true. I'm a guitarist, and there's just I've been doing quite a few different types of creative work over the years, and it's been very exciting and very rewarding. I've had a really good time, most recently with film, and it's been very interesting. And now I'm looking at actually possibly releasing an album in the future. That's my bucket list item, actually. Yeah.
So
So.
cool. Can you
Yeah.
tell us your story, how you got started? We want to know everything about you.
Sure. Well, let me see. Well, I guess I moved from Toronto to Vancouver in my formative youth. Um, and when I moved out to Vancouver, I pretty much immediately started teaching guitar and then performing as a jazz guitarist. And I spent maybe a decade performing as a jazz guitarist and a band leader, leading bands and also teaching on the side. And then that led to me moving to Vancouver Island to be closer to my mom, whose needs were they weren't really that pressing at that time, but I just wanted to be close to mom. And so I moved to Vancouver Island and I didn't really find a place to fit in with the music scene. So I somehow detached from playing guitar. I ended up playing guitar not so much anymore. And so what I was doing was I was doing radio. So I ended up very interested in jazz radio. And I was a jazz radio host and producer, live engineer, did it all live, like what you're doing right now. Um, Pretty much for about 16 to 17 years at different stations. And that was a lot of fun. And it kind of prepared me for other work because I was writing all this time. Like I was doing a lot of writing, you know, describing my podcast. We ended up number one, like I ended up number one on Google with my podcast, Rhythming, for many years. And someone else has taken over that name now, but I'm not, doing radio anymore, so I don't really care. But yeah, and that was a really interesting experience, and it led to writing for Downbeat, which is your Americans your USA's top jazz magazine, and that was a thrill because listen, those writers, I admire them. I was just so thrilled to be part of that for a while. Now, so I was doing that for about 4 years, and then of course the pandemic hit. And prior to that, I've been doing a lot of publicity work, like locally where I live, a lot of writing. People would hire me to write for them or to do events publicity. So I managed to learn quite a lot. That we may be talking a bit about that today, about the publicity aspect and really how to save money because I was working for organizations that, didn't have big budgets. So I had to really kind of get creative and find ways to really save them some money while still getting the word out about their events. So I was doing that for quite a long time too as well. And then, most recently, like I guess in the past recent years, like from about 2015 to 22, I was involved with television volunteering, and that was really fun. I was doing a lot of volunteer hosting and producing these little, 3 minute, sort of 5 minute, maybe 8 minute episodes for television. We were co-hosting on and interviewing and doing all of that. And it turned out I could direct. Katie, I don't know why, but one day we discovered that I could direct television, and that was a bit of a shock. because what it meant was I had to operate the switcher, which is, a lot of sort of complicated equipment, you're switching from camera to camera, but at that same time, you have to direct your sound person rather, and your graphics person. You have two guys there, like when they're live with you, right? And then you have camera operators, right? So maybe two or three of those, and maybe some stationary cameras. So you're operating all that, you're directing these people through your little microphone, your headset. And meanwhile, the host of the television show is with their guest, and you have to get all those shots right. And so it's really exciting, a real adrenaline rush, and I really loved doing that for as long as that was happening. Most recently, that television station got taken over by another corporation. So I'm not there at the moment, but my plan is like, if you were going to talk about bucket lists, you know how we make these 3 or 5 year lists when we're making a vision board or something like that. By the way, if people want a vision board, DM or message me because I've got a nice digital version. But and I'll gift that to you. But yeah, so I just find that the things that I've done over the time period that I've done have been formative, and so my bucket list is I'd like to make another film in the future. I'd like to get my jazz album done, and I'd probably like to work for some other people. I found, you know what, Katie, I wrote my first script the other day. I just was a challenge, I was applying for this job, script writer or something. I thought that would be fun. And it was no problem. I just banged off, maybe 10 pages, no problem, and wrote it all. And I wasn't quite sure if I had all the details correctly, like I'm sure there's sort of standard formatting and stuff. And I was looking at that and thinking, oh, but I got all that and I got all that. Oh, I think I can do this. So that's something that kind of interests me right now because it's related to film and TV, and yet it's also about writing. And I'm really interested in writing as well. So not only am I interested in music, I'm interested in writing, I'm interested in shooting film. And so I work sort of with those different mediums. And then I do work, like I will work with nonprofits and businesses with the various aspects of publicity and other sort of positivity manifestation type of work. Hmm.
So cool. I wanted to ask you about God. Like, how do you incorporate God in your life, in your business?
Ah, yeah. So I was just performing yesterday for the Women in View Festival, and I was using I don't know if you can see these, but I've got these amazing uh
So
singing,
cool. Love it.
and they're from Nepal, okay? And so of course they're very sacred to the people of Nepal. But listen, I meditate on my guitar, and I really feel that I'm very close with God when I'm performing or improvising. I feel that that's coming for me from directly from the source, and so to me, that's a really amazing way to connect, just I guess creatively, but also um, centering myself. And so I've started sharing this work, this centering or sound bath work with other people. But so that's just a new aspect of how I'm incorporating God into what I do. But listen, every day I wake up, I look out my window and there's these mountains there, and there's ocean, and I look at that and I can, I automatically have to acknowledge that God's there with me. It's just you can't look at such beauty and such magnificent creation without considering God. And so actually I'm reminded about God every day just because of the view I have where I live. And it helps me stay focused and centered. And I really think what I've been worried about, Katie, is in recent years, maybe since the pandemic, I wouldn't know if that was really accurate, but it just seems that there's kind of a deviation or a pulling away from ethics
Yeah.
by global society. And this is really concerning me. I don't want to get too heavy with any of what we talk about here, but what we're seeing happening in the world is very distressing and worrisome, right? And so
Absolutely.
we're all at this point where we're all very concerned that we're trying to pretend that we're continuing here, but we're probably all very concerned about what's happening
Yes.
globally, right? And so for me, I would like people to get back to ethics, love for one another, really focusing on what's really important, which is love. Yeah, and that comes from God too.
Yes.
If you've had those meditations and you've ever sensed the presence of God, it's definitely a love force, It's I don't know if you've ever had any of those experiences, but I have
Yeah.
because I've worked with indigenous people and I've done some of those ceremonies, and even though I'm a Christian, and those ceremonies have really opened me up to like knowing and acknowledging and never doubting that God exists. So that's what I would say that the indigenous culture gifted me was some real strong faith.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carolyn, you told me that you wanted to talk about the hidden secret of affordable publicity in your area. Can you talk to us about that?
Oh, yeah. So do you mean how I got those hits?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just talk about that. So yeah, that was something. So we got 1.47 billion hits, our cast, but maybe four or five
Wow.
cast members from our movie on the site IMDb Pro this past June 23 to 2024. And I was a bit shocked. I mean, honestly, like I just wasn't expecting that. Um, and then of course I was wondering, well, is this accurate? Could this be really true? So, but anyway, what we were doing, how we achieved that was $25. And you're going, well, how did you do that with $25? Well, first of all, I didn't do any advertising, but at one point, one Christmas, I thought I would put out a little ad because I just thought it would be fun type thing. But what we were doing was we were film festing. Okay, so any film people that want to take note of this. So we were film festing all over the world. Okay, so we weren't like I wasn't closing off what I was doing to any country in particular at that time. Um, so I was in Asia, like for example, South Korea and China and Japan. And I don't know if that was part of the reason we were getting such high hit numbers. We did fest and show our film in some of those countries. The film fest were showing our work, and so that was a thrill. And they really understood what the film meant, like just as far as discipline of music and intergenerational kind of musician relationships, and it was really beautiful seeing how they really loved the film and in Asia. But so we weren't kind of being reserved about where we chose to screen, and it seems like it just sort of ended up working out well. Now, what we were doing, I'm going to tell you how we did it. So what we were doing, we were posting happy news. All right,
Wow.
people just don't like the stuff, the negativity. What we were doing is when we would win a film fest and we go, hey, we won this film fest. We're so excited, right? And we were just posting like we won. We're winning several awards, and we were competing, and so we were posting about competing and the fun of that, and just being really positive, posting positivity. Okay, totally, only that. Only that. No, nothing else, but positivity and celebration. And I don't know what it is about that, but people just really loved it. And they got behind us and they were supportive. And, I started getting contacted by people all over the world. It became difficult. I couldn't cope with it. It was getting a bit beyond me. But so that's all we were doing, but we were on 9 platforms, right? So this is the thing, social media. So we weren't just on Facebook or Twitter, we were on, okay, I gotta tell you the ones we were on. Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, LinkedIn, Alignable, Blue Sky, YouTube. Wait, I think
Wow.
that's 9. There might be one more. But so I was posting all of those. You're going, oh, well, we're using Hootsuite or some sort of fancy, paid service to help you access all those. No, I was doing it the old-fashioned way. I had the time to do it at the time. It's driving me crazy. But to be honest, I would recommend that people do use some of those social media management systems because then you can post, to many, many platforms all at once with just short little posts, that's another thing. We were doing kind of shorter posts on social media, just very short, exciting kind of happy news, and it just resonated with people all over the world. And then one day at Christmas, I don't know, I was talking a bit about film, maybe on social media a bit, and it was Christmas, and it really was Christmas. I think it was like maybe Christmas Eve or something like. And I decided that I wanted to publish like a Merry Christmas message, or I don't know what it was that I did. I don't even remember. So I really should remember. But what happened was my messages just started blowing up. Like I started getting all these
Wow.
messages from people from Africa and India. Okay. And all the messages weren't in English. I had made the post to go for the whole world. I changed it to so that it would go to the whole world. I chose every country. And so it was focused, what was happening was it was focused on India and Africa. So people in different languages from those countries were just saying hello. But what it was I had said that I loved Ravi Shankar. And Ravi
Wow.
Shankar has really inspired me, one of the great sitarists from India. Ravi Shankar, oh my goodness, I just love him. I don't know what I said about him, but all of a sudden, like people just contacting me. So it's really amazing how these posts can really affect people. It just really depends how it resonates with people. And sometimes like that was a shock. I didn't expect there to be such a huge reaction when I posted about Ravi Shankar, but there was at Christmas, and maybe it was the time that I posted. That's the other thing. You want to get your timing correct. Sometimes it
Yeah,
really blows up, at other times it doesn't. You have to have a sense of when your followers are online. Obviously, you can do that with analytics, but other times you just want to kind of get a nice time where you know, both sides of the world can access what you're doing. Yeah.
excellent. I love that, Carly.
Yeah.
Can you talk about when it comes to business, how do you help people? How can people work with you?
Yeah. So business, I love working with business and nonprofits and helping them with the publicity aspect, um, because it really helps them and they save a lot of money.
Oh, yes.
That's the good part. But it's basically just enabling them and empowering them to understand how to approach it themselves so that they know how to build a media list, so that they know how to write a press release, for example. Some people don't. I've worked with a very gifted musician here in Canada who ended up winning a Juno Award. That was exciting. Jean Chen uh, MG. Um, and so but when I work with people, we're often working on maybe aspects of writing or publicity or approaches. I'm not saying that people don't know how to write or that they don't know how to approach things, but we're just kind of framing it and looking at it in a new maybe a new way compared to how they may have been looking at it before. So it's just about getting them to understand events, listings in their area, wherever that is, how to access the free listings. Really important, that aspect. If you have an event, you really have to get your events listings right. I mean, if you're not, I mean, putting it on social media is not good enough. You may think
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
but
It's not.
it simply is not. So, and then also, knowing, well, where should I advertise? Should I advertise at X magazine or, whatever magazine that you're thinking of? You have to know where you're actually going to have a punch with your money. So for
Yes.
example, with guitar lessons, you'd think, oh, well, just put an ad in the newspaper or on Facebook or something. Those aren't necessarily as effective as going into, those used, what are they like? I don't know, Kijiji or something. I don't know if you have that there in the United States, but they're like used places where you buy stuff.
Mhm.
And many people are now putting their lessons and stuff like that in those types of formats because people really pay attention to them and they're really cheap to advertise. And you can $10, $20 for that, and it reaches quite a lot of people who are interested and are ready to buy. And knowing, if there's a list, for example, the Port Theater where I live here has an amazing email list that they will send out for you. If you contact them, you can pay a fee and they'll send out to their list, and their list is all buyers, right? So you want to get the people that are buying, targeting those people when you're a business or when you're a performer. But so it's just really kind of knowing, really getting to know the ins and outs of your community and taking advantage of what's there that will help you, you know. Dan Brubeck of Dave Brubeck's family, the great jazz pianist Dave Brubeck. He was an icon in the 1960s. His son Dan, I worked with him when he was touring Vancouver Island. I used to do a lot of booking. I was a music booking agent for a while. And anyway, he taught me a lot. And that's how I got onto publicity. You know, Dan always used to say, there has to be a sign. And I was like, what are you talking about, Dan? Well, he honestly, he was right about that. What we did for that performance when he came to Nanaimo, we purchased rentals for a sign at the conference centers that said Dan Brubeck performing wherever he was performing, and he was doing a whole island tour, right? And we got it wasn't that expensive to do. We completely sold out of everything, but it was really also creating presence, you know. Some of these signs may be more pricier than others, but you know, like even just something as simple as a sign gets the word out, you know, and we don't think of that. And postering, you know, oh, postering, oh, isn't that just so passe? No, postering, you know, people are out and about, they see your poster. It's not pointless, you know, all the effort does add up. But and so we for Victoria when we were working with Dan Brubeck, we posted the whole city, you know, with a special business that does that. They do all the telephone poles and it's allowed, right? So 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 we and of course we wanted to access the locations that were inside, not outside. You know, we're trying to be strategic. So just simple even things as simple as that, like a sign or posters, can really make a difference. You know, little post-it cards, you know, those little cards, those nice little hand notes. You can put those at hotels and tourist destinations and really take advantage of visitors and get them out to your events. That's another way to approach it too, if you're interested in accessing that market. But there's just so much you can do, right? And it's really quite fun. I've found that teaching people how to write a press release is also very, very rewarding.
So cool. I
I
love it.
know what I found. You know, Katie, I
Yeah.
can tell a real one secret. Like people need to hear this secret, especially our Canadian musicians, but even our American musicians. Okay, this is for everyone. You have to get your publicity done like way in advance of your release date. Okay, so if you're a recording artist and you're releasing in December, go back November, October, September, August. So in August, you should be contacting Downbeat Magazine, Jazzes, or whoever if you're a jazz artist. You know, you need to contact magazines at least 3 months before their publishing date to get any chance of getting into their magazine. And I would recommend that you contact them before. Give them a nice heads up, you know. And that is how you get international publicity, my friends. You know, you if you don't understand that you have to give them like 3 to 4 months notice at least, and you're only going to contact them 2 weeks before your release date, nothing's gonna happen, right? And see, so the thing is most people don't know that detail. They don't. It's like maybe 99.3% people don't know that. And so they're all banging against their heads against the wall for years, doing the same mistakes over and over again. I saw that when I was writing for magazines, you know, I saw people doing that and it really upset me. I thought, oh, I gotta create, you know, I don't know, a workshop or something. So I started creating all these workshops for people. I have some for recording artists. I have some for nonprofits and businesses. You can check them out in my store at kerilie.com, KERILIE.com. But, you know, I've just had a lot of fun working with artists, with musicians. I really love working with musicians, probably because I am a musician. But yeah, I've just had a lot of fun with everything that I've been doing in recent years, and I feel very honored to have participated, especially in the television work. It was just such an exciting, fun time. Really, really loved it. The people were great too.
So cool, Kelly. Is there anything that you would like to add to this interview that we didn't discuss? Anything you wanted to? I don't know if you want to, if you have a few minutes to play for a little bit.
Oh,
Go
you
ahead.
want me to play guitar?
Even a little bit, like 2 minutes before we into
Yeah?
this Christian.
Oh, okay, well, let me just see about that. Hang on. I'm in my chair, my office chair with arms just to all you beginner guitarists, don't do that. Don't perform in office chairs. But I'll just get my guitar here just a sec. So this is my electric guitar.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah, so just a second.
Thank you,
It's a
Stella.
nice Fender Stratocaster. So I've been doing a lot of more recent work with, I just have to find my pig. Hang on a moment. I don't know where I put it. That's okay, I can use my fingers. But yeah, it's probably back there on that table. But anyway, this is my guitar and I like to do a lot of, I'm just gonna turn up. So I've been doing a lot of meditative sort of drone sort of work for the Woman in View Festival, and I'm also going to be doing some of that for the Globe Conference Center. But I'll just perform some, like maybe something mellow here. Just gonna take a sip of coffee. Not very professional. Don't do that, guys, when you're performing. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Is it distorting?
What did you say, Kelly?
Is it distorting? Because I had problems with distortion yesterday, and I'm just worried that it's not going to sound correctly.
I'm not hearing anything. I don't know if Ken and Crystal is listening.
Okay, well, I just don't want to wreck our video here with any distortion, but I'll just see if I can turn down. Maybe that'll make a difference.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just going to play a little bit of the drone stuff that I've been doing lately. Daisy?
Yeah, I can hear a little bit. So cool. I love it.
So I'm working with really slow moving sounds, really calm, But like, listen, like, it doesn't mean that I can't play fast. In my youth, I used to, right? Like I was
Yeah, so cool.
really, those were the time when I was at my peak, I guess. But now that I'm older, I'm more interested in slower moving, calmer, kind of mellower songs. So anyway, that gives you a taste, and I hope the sound came through okay and that it wasn't too distorted. I did turn down just in case. But listen, so that gives you an idea of some of the calmer, more centering sort of work that I've been doing. Um,
Currently, I think your volume is a little bit low. I don't know if you can.
oh, is it? You mean my actual audio?
Yeah, now it's better.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I guess I had moved away too far away from the
Yeah,
mic. So anyway, at least you heard a little bit of the guitar, and
yeah, love it.
people can catch more of that at the Conference. I think I'm performing there November 17th. It'll be posted on
Okay.
my on my
Okay.
website. But yeah, so and it's just been such a wonderful chat today.
Yeah.
Have we covered everything? What else was it that we wanted to
I
talk about?
think I would love to ask you, like, is there anything that you wanted to tell us, the public, everyone listening? Any encouragement before
Well,
we into this?
I'm really interested in talking about God maybe because for those that do have a practice of worship, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to say right now, I don't care which religion you're involved with. The point is like if we're talking about God and what that means, just globally, okay, with all cultures or creator, the center of like a wheel, like a bicycle wheel, imagine, and those spokes all going to that center, that central wisdom. So even if the paths are somehow different or slightly varied or perhaps quite unique and different from different culture religions, that center, that wisdom, that center, God is still there and all of that knowledge, right? And that centuries, thousands of years of knowledge, of spiritual knowledge and wisdom. And so I would just encourage people, to think of God when they're try and think of God. What would God want you to do in a situation if you're conflicted? Maybe you're having some ethical dilemmas. Maybe there's something happening that you don't agree with at work and you have to kind of get through it. So the amazing thing is that the Bible or many of the religious works books, you know, can really guide you in your ethics and how you should approach things. And so when I see a world in chaos, maybe sort of deviating and off track, I just want to encourage people to maybe look at the Ten Commandments, what that means. You do not have to be a Christian to appreciate the Ten Commandments. You don't, right? And so they're just great, fundamental, basic ethics right there. And they used to teach that in all the schools here where I live, but then they removed it from the schools. I don't know if removing those basic concepts of ethics have created a big problem. I don't know if that's the reason or if it's just maybe people have moved away and are distancing themselves from God. But I wanted to tell people to remind themselves, you are a child of God first. You are a child of God first. Yes, you have parents, but the first one on the rung should be God, then maybe the people you love. If you're going to put priorities in place, God, people that you love, the people that you love, the relationships that you have, family, and then maybe the things that you love to do and the things that you think can do to help others. Okay? Because it's not just always about yourself. Being in service to others is important too. My mother she helped the homeless. She was a beautiful woman. She helped the homeless. She helped people who were in real crisis. She was a social worker. But she was doing this on the weekends. She didn't tell me she was doing this, but I found out after she had passed away that she was helping the most vulnerable, worst affected clients access help. People that were deaf and blind with no parents that had no help that were in a crisis situation facing homelessness. My mother was doing that. So what I want to say is whether you decide to work with the homeless or whichever kind of passion that you have, whether it would be people with disabilities, whatever it might be, offer some service, do a bit of volunteer work, in your community, or find a way to give back if you're a business, with charitable donations or just a bit of volunteering, whatever you can do. But I would just like to remind everybody that we are a community and to remember those godly things, being kind to others, love one another as you would love yourself. Those basic, wonderful things that we learn when we're learning it in various disciplines, right? Spiritual disciplines. So I would just say, it doesn't matter really which discipline you come from, just to remind yourself and to look at the wisdom. Like honestly, you look at the writings from Asia, the Buddhist like there's just the Taoism, everything, it's there's centuries of wisdom that we have on this planet, and we should be cherishing and honoring all of it. And we should be working together and loving one another. Okay, like that's what our focus should be, and how to help and assist one another, not just in our own communities, but globally. So, we are a community. What happens here in Canada, the United States, affects someone ultimately somewhere else. It's just like it's all connected, right? So yeah, I would just tell people to look at their ethical stance, to look at their philosophy, maybe to write down your top 5 philosophical values, and you can do that. Listen, I have a great manifestation tool. If you look at my website, there's a nice page there called positive manifestation or something. I forget what it's called. Just look at that because there's a whole toolkit that will help get you aligning your ethics with your creative practice. So that's another thing you can do.
Thank you so much, Carly. I appreciate it. Thank you for sharing all the golden nuggets that you share with us today. I have to watch a replay because you share a lot of good things.
Oh, thank you. It's been such an honor to chat with you today, Katie.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank, thank you.
Yeah, I'm so excited today. Thank you, Carly, to introduce you another speaker, an amazing speaker. Her name is Crystal Beach. Let
Giga.
me, Biga? Okay.
Yes.
English not my first language. I messed
Me
up
neither.
some.
Good.
I messed up. I messed up my English.
Don't you worry. This is not an American name, so we're good. This is from Africa, so.
Yeah, so cool. We have people from all over the world. Let me Christelle as journey embodied resilience in the transformative power of visibility from her early year in Africa. She was captivated by happiness and influencers' roles in societal well-being, driving her to move to the United States to create positive change. Upon arrival, she faces unexpected challenge, including wrongful accusation and 9-month detention. Overcoming this, Crystal resolved strengthened as she shared her story on podcast, highlighting the potential to inspire and foster growth. This led to founding Exposure Maven, a podcast booking agency dedicated to elevating successful entrepreneurs ready to take their visibility to the next level. Welcome, Crystal.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. And thanks, and hi to the other people in the room. Kim, Carolee, thank you.
Can you share, Crystal, your story with us, how everything got started?
Yes, I'll be happy to share my story. So, as you mentioned, as in my bio, I'm Christelle Biga. I'm originally from Cameroon, that's in Africa. I live now in Los Angeles, and as I'm speaking to you, I'm visiting London.
Wow.
So, yes, I moved to the United States in 2015, December 31st to be precise. And I could barely speak English at the time. I had no family or friends over there waiting for me. And when I arrived at LAX, I was arrested by an immigration officer who accused me of going there to work as a prostitute.
Wow.
I ended up in a detention center where I spent 9 months before winning my case. And yeah, so when all of that was happening, wasn't planned, right? So maybe you have entrepreneurs that will watch this and they might know what it means to take a leap. That's what I did, leaving my country and saying, hey, let's go to America. Let's go where they say anyone can become anything is possible over there. Let's go. And sometimes people ask me, what was your American dream? And my American dream was actually to make a difference. It was interesting that he really reminded us of the value and importance of, helping others, making a difference in people's lives. And growing up, I have seen how much impact people that were visible, that were on the world stage, were impacting lives, even over there in Africa. And they were not always impacting lives in a way that was life changing. Sometimes, I remember, for example, Rihanna, every time she will have a new hairstyle, my girlfriends and I will want the same. That influence. but it wasn't changing our lives, right? So I understood really early that visibility makes impact. So I said, okay, if I want to really make a difference, not for people to change their hairstyle only, but really to help people be happier, because happiness also was a big deal for me. I was that little girl that would walk on the street, see strangers, and wonder, is this person happy? And I would catch myself saying, you don't know these people. Why do you care? But eventually I connected the two. I said to myself, if I really care about people being happy, maybe being visible will allow me to help as many people as possible. That's when I say, hey, what better place? If I really want to have the type of influence that I see those people on the world stage having, maybe I should go there. That's when I decided to move to the United States. That was my American dream. But it almost turned into a nightmare because I was sent to jail. I was almost got deported because, yeah, I mean, some way, somehow, the guy thought I was going there to work as a prostitute. Anyhow, I won my case. And sometimes people always also ask me, why did you spend 9 months there? I wasn't sentenced. It wasn't a jail sentence. It was just happening that way because I didn't have a lawyer. Remember, I said I had no family or friends over there. So I was on my own. And every time I will go to court, we will go to court once a month. Every time I will go to court, the judge will ask me one question. Do you have a lawyer? And I will say no. He say, okay, come back next month. And
Wow.
that's how I ended up spending 9 months there until eventually they decided to allow me to defend myself by myself. So I did that and I won. So when I left that place, as you can imagine, it was a traumatic experience. So I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to know anybody to know about it because that's what happens when we go through tough times. Sometimes we are ashamed even though we didn't do anything wrong. That's where I was. I said I was in jail. Nobody needs to know that. I don't want anybody to look at me and say she was in jail. So I tried to forget about that episode and try to move on. I got a job at LAX, my first job, and I only got it because it was a French airline because my English still wasn't there. So it was a French airline. That's what allowed me to get that job. Started working there and also getting coached, trying to get over all the trauma and getting some mindset work going, and still having that desire in my heart to help. So I received great help from coaches that I thought, hey, maybe coaching is the way for me to do that. Maybe coaching is way for me to actually help people be happier. So I said, I'm going to be a coach. I started a coaching business at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. I was attending programs and everything else. And at the end of 2019, I said, I will go full time. This is what I want to do. Love my job, great job, but I want to be a coach because that's what I'm here to do, help people. So I quit my job at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. Everybody thought I was crazy until it was locked down. Everything shut down anyway. The airport shut down anyway because of what all of us know. And that's when I decided to start promoting my services as a speaker, and getting on podcasts was one of the easiest way for me. Even though they told me it's too early for you to get on podcasts, I did it anyway. So I started getting on a lot of podcasts talking about what I do, but not sharing my story yet. Because again, I wasn't ready until we were in the middle of the pandemic in May 2020. I was on a podcast, and some way, somehow, I don't know what happened. I found myself sharing that story of me being arrested, almost getting deported, spending 9 months in jail. And the impact that story had on that interview blew my own mind. And then I realized that, wait a minute, being a guest on podcasts is a great way not only to get clients for your business, but actually to make a difference in people's lives. So if you're really out there promoting your services and saying, hey, I have a great service or great gift or skill, something that can help you, being on a podcast is a great way to do that, because even the people that will not become your clients will can hear something you share on a podcast, and it will make a difference in their lives. So that's how I fell in love with being a guest on podcasts. And eventually I say to myself, it's just one story, mine. This is just me able to help so many people in so many ways. But there are other experts out there. There are other people out there who can really help people be happier with their finances, with their mindset, with their lives, with their relationships. How about I help those people get on stage, on podcasts, and help as many people as possible? So that's the long version of how I started my business.
So cool. Can you share with us how we get visibility with podcasts?
Yes, it's definitely, as I was saying, we all, I mean, I hope I gave you a little bit
Yes.
of how powerful being on podcast is, right? So really to get visibility is to be clear on what type of podcast you need to be on. It's a strategy, just like any marketing, a strategy, podcast guesting is a marketing strategy. So you have to really work it for it to work. You can be on any random podcast, but you have to be strategic because you don't have so much time to spend on, just going out there and speaking, hoping someone is hearing you. So to really gain visibility, you want to be selective on the type of podcast you want to be on. And that's what we do in my agency. We really focus on podcasts that are ranked in the top 10% globally because we want to make sure those podcasts already have an audience because visibility is you being in front of more people. So if you get on a podcast that only the host and his family members are listening to, that's not getting you really out there, right? Nothing wrong with small podcasts, but I'm just saying if you really want to be visible, you want to choose, be more picky about the type of podcast you want to be on, not to discard the rest, but as your strategy of visibility, be going after shows that have a huge audience. That's where your visibility will really skyrocket.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of people get confused. It's this, but yes, it's you have to, you know, um, do like a research. So when somebody comes to you, like, what do they wanted to launch a podcast. How do you work with it?
No, I don't help them launch a podcast. I
Oh,
can
okay, okay,
refer them to people who can help them launch a podcast. What I
okay.
do is really podcast matchmaking, meaning as just like a matchmaker, right? You tell me what your business is about, the type of audience you're trying to reach, the topics you speak on, and my team and I go out there, find the shows that match your expertise, match the audience you're trying to reach, and we just want to also make sure they have that audience, right?
Wow.
So we go and do the pitching for you, the follow-ups, all that research to make sure that you get visible as in front, you get your message gets heard by thousands of people. We do the matchmaking, and once we get a yes from a host, we reach out to you and say, hey, this host wants to have you on their show, when are you available? So it's really a
Wow.
done for you service. It's not us adding more work into what you're already doing. It's us
Wow.
really taking the work out of your plate, making it easier for you to just focus on spreading your message, reaching as many people as possible, being seen and heard by as many people as possible.
So cool. How long do you think it takes if somebody that comes to you and they say, "Hey, I want to be visible"? How long does it take for that to happen?
Oh, we start getting our clients booked within a week of them signing up
Wow,
with us.
that
Yes,
fast.
it goes that fast. Now, the thing we have to be clear on is that those high profile podcasts, I have, a calendar that is full. So we book you, and they have to have an availability on their calendar and your calendar. You also have to be available for the recording. Some of them are live, but some of them, post the interview a little bit later. So yeah, but for the booking, it starts right away. The moment we have all your information, we have a huge network already of podcast hosts and podcasts. Actually, I have a list of, the freebie that I offered is a list of 100 plus podcast contacts. Those are high profile podcasts that, the listeners, the viewers can already start using. But we really have a huge database of podcast hosts, networking, and all of that that allows us to pitch you and get you booked as fast as possible because we already also have that credibility. They trust us to be able to bring them valuable speakers. So that's why it's so easy for us to start booking you right away on shows. And really to even help our clients to be more visible, we don't just book them. After their interviews are released, we promote it with our own audience, right? So the host is promoting, we are promoting, and we encourage our clients also to promote. So that's just extra visibility.
So cool. I love it. When it comes to like a lot of people get paid to speak. Do you do that too?
I mean, they pay me to find, speaking of opportunities on podcasts for them, right? Because of all the work of researching and pitching and all the things that come into it. But once they get a yes, they don't need to pay again to be on the podcast, right? So,
Wow.
this is different than the traditional pay-to-play model of speaking.
So cool. I love everything you share. I have to watch the replay to get some more nuggets. You share so many good things too. Is there anything that you would like to add to this interview that we didn't discuss? Anything that you wanted to, your website, how can people work with you? Anything? I know you have your code there that people can scan it.
Yes, absolutely. The code allows you to get access to the list of 100 plus podcasts that I mentioned. So you can just download that list. It's completely free and you can start pitching right away. And for
What?
those who, yeah, definitely. All the contacts are there. For those who, would like to learn more about our services, the website is exposuremaven.com. That exposuremaven.com. So you go to our website, you will find more details. And if you are interested to start, maybe get your feet wet, we also offer a starter package of 5 guaranteed bookings within 90 days. To be honest, the bookings usually happens within 3 weeks, but let's say 90 days, you get your 5 guaranteed bookings on top rated podcasts. So that if you're interested in that package, I'll also share the link with you so that you can, have access and check out the details of that.
Thank you, Christelle. You share so much information. I have to get all of that so to get book a podcast. Thank you so much, Christelle, for being with us today, and I appreciate it. Thank you for
Thank you
sharing
so
all the
much for
nuggets.
having me. It was such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Christelle. Okay, I see you. Um, I'm so excited. I'm always so excited to present my next guest, Amy. Welcome, Amy. Let me see if I can pin you. Hey, Amy.
Hello,
Nice to meet
everybody.
you.
That's me. I'm Amy Shade. I know people don't know how to say my last name.
It's about a name, last name.
It's like shade under a tree without the T. So do you want me to introduce myself? Or?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay,
please.
great. I'm Amy Shade. I am the creator of the Radical Embodiment Method. I really support people, and mainly women, on really following their passions and how to really stay true to their path. And we're going to talk about this today for the entrepreneurs here, the business women and men here that really have this passion for something. And oftentimes these passions that we have get sidetracked because of our deep-seated beliefs on our self-worth, on our confidence. And like even today, you're going to hear a bunch of things like, oh yeah, I want to be on a podcast. Oh yeah, I want to do that funnel. Or yeah, I want to do those types of posts. And we have this passion for it. And then something gets in the way. And that something is that inner voice of saying, what if no one buys? Or the inner voice of, what if I show myself and I get rejected? I'm not really worthy of this. I don't have enough certifications. I'm not really capable because I'm not actually ready. So the work that I do is really supporting women into understanding that voice, comforting that voice, and doing it anyways. Okay. It's about really shifting the energy into empowerment and into a new narrative. And as an entrepreneur, I've, been an entrepreneur. I've known Christelle. We started together in this coaching business, but I've been an entrepreneur before that, creating dance programs, tutoring mathematics and chemistry. And I work with kids a lot. And I've been in education for over 20 years. And so I think this journey that we are on as entrepreneurs or business owners is a journey of self-discovery, and it's a journey of really meeting ourselves in such a way that it's all about us on many levels. Like, who do we get to be as an entrepreneur, as a business person? So I created the radical embodiment method that really connects your mind and your body, and for you to really reflect on actually what's happening in your mind and your body, so that you are able to move past that and really go for your dreams, get that business you want, and really chase those wishes and thoughts that are constantly like ruminating.
Wow, I mean, so what a great introduction. I love it. Can you share with us, you say when I share about the ups and downs, you already share a little bit of how can we embody, your value and all the nuggets that you wanted to share with us today?
Yeah. So the ups and downs of entrepreneurship are varied. They will come. They will come. They should be some kind of expectations that this is going to be a bumpy ride on some level. There's a bumpy ride because, again, you are up against yourself most of the time. Like 98% of what you're up against is you. And once we understand that, we're able to like, oh, I'm the one who's actually driving the boat, right? I'm the one who is actually responsible for the outcomes in my business, right? And so my first question is, do you have a vision for your business? Do you have some concrete things that you desire for your business, right? And the vision, oftentimes, I remember when I was asked, when I first started in the coaching industry, my coach said to me, "What's your vision?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, how many clients do you want?" I'm like, "How much money do you want to make? What does your programs look like?" I was like, "I don't know." Like, that was such a difficult thing for me to say. You know what? I want to have a mastermind group program. I want to have lower offers that are easy for people to have, because I believe in really giving equal opportunity, like giving some opportunity to people who don't have money. I think it's a great service to offer low offers that people can take and afford. I do believe I also wanted a high-end program because, yeah, I mean, you want to make that money each month. And then there's also the I forget what else I wanted. Anyhow, I created this big vision for myself, and I was just starting out. And everybody's like, "I want to make 10,000 a month." And then you go and you look on Instagram or social media, and people are like, "I made 10,000 this month," and they're in their, on their boat doing their thing. And so you are up against those visuals. You are up against those expectations as you are just starting your business. Now, to me, I find that self-sabotaging on some level. I think it's good to have a big vision, and yet what do we need to, what are the steps to get you there, right? What are the steps to get you there? So this is where your values come into play. Your values come into play because what are your top 5 values, right? Everyone know their top 5 values here?
Yes.
Right? Mine are like freedom, openness, curiosity, peace, and fun. I love fun, right? These are like my values. And if you know me, that's exactly what you get, right? And these top values have been running my life for a long time, right? Now, the issue is, as an entrepreneur, I understood that I didn't have much resilience, right? Resilience was not one of my top 5 values. Shoot, it wasn't even my top 10, resilience. And so I had to understand that, I need to adopt and embody and make friends with resilience. Otherwise, I won't make it in this business. There's no way, if you don't have resilience as one of your values that you really want to take on and understand and embody and implement in your life, this type of business, the online entrepreneur, is very difficult. You must have that resilience. Now, if one of your top values is like order, organization, right? That's great. That order and organization is great. But maybe you lack a little bit of creativity as a value. And so we must order and organization is great, but maybe I need more creativity to my business. How do I adopt that value of creativity? How do I start being more creative in my life? So values are super important in this journey, and understanding, what you're good at and what you're lacking in and what you get to really take on. Because this journey is not about the funnels. This journey is not about the website. This journey is not about the money, even on some level. The journey is you. You are the journey. You are the person who gets to become something other than where you're at now. And it might invite more experimentation. It might invite more freedom, more resilience in your life. And this is the beauty of it. This is the beauty of being an entrepreneur. And this is exactly how I work with my clients, is through self-discovery. Who am I? Who do I get to be? Because we are being these things. We are being open. We are being resilient. We are being these things. We are not just thinking these things. And so I always say this, whenever you follow your passion, you're going to meet yourself. You're going to meet yourself, because it's one of the most difficult things to do. To stay true to your passion, to stay true to your vision, to stay true to yourself is one of the most difficult things to do right now.
Absolutely, Amy. Absolutely. I've been learning about, like, it doesn't matter, just like you share, doesn't matter the funnel, doesn't matter the website. It's who you be, who you are. And learning that, it's just amazing me. Like it's I don't even know how to explain it. So it's amazing. It's you. You are the person that you need to discover yourself. You need to know that you are important, that you are the person. You're the brand, you are everything.
You are
It
it.
start
Yes.
with you.
Yes. And let's say, like, even, with Christelle going on you go on one of the podcasts that she booked you on, right? You have to be there. People are like, you're it. Right. And what an opportunity to actually own what you're saying, to actually own who you are and what you're saying, instead of pretending that because when you go into your self-discovery, you learn about yourself. There is nothing that you fake anymore. There's nothing that you kind of like hide. I mean, this is it. Like, who you see now is who you're going to see everywhere, right? That's me. I'm open, I'm passionate, I'm curious, I'm I like fun. I'm excited, right? So what happens when you're not? Right? What happens when you are just overwhelmed with so much tech stuff, or overwhelmed with the funnels, or overwhelmed with your kids or your husband or your partner or your wife, whoever it is, right? And this overwhelm comes in and no one's buying your product. No one is booking. No one is hiring you, right? You're in a down, you're like, what worked yesterday is not working today, right? This is the part where it's very important that you hold true to yourself, your vision, and your passions, because it will come. It will come. And so what do we do in those down cycles? What do we do in those when we have to shift, when we have to, whatever worked last week surely is not working this week because no one's booking, right? And if you know, if you're an entrepreneur online, you know this is a fickle business and you have to be willing to change, right? And that's one of the values that I'm really trying to incorporate in my business. Like, okay, pivot next, let's move on, right? Because I'm a very solid person. I'm dependable. I'm like, I'm there. I'm 100% like, if I say I'm going to be somewhere, I will be there, right? But that type of mindset also gets in the way of being an entrepreneur oftentimes, because you have to be able to shift. You have to be able to like, I got to change the time. This is not working for me, right? So on the down spiral, what do you do? What do you do, right? Well, you really reconnect with yourself. I'm a, whether you are in universe, whether you are in God, whether you are in Mother God, wherever you are in this, in your beliefs, right? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that it's important for me to have that relationship and to hook up to the unconditional love that is out there for us and provided for us if we accept it, right? And so I do believe that in this life and in especially entrepreneurship, when things are hitting the fan, it's needed on a high level to give it up, to open to love, and to allow unconditional love to hit you, because oftentimes there's no one around us that's on our side. We need universe, God, Mother God to be on our side, because during this journey, it's not an easy journey. And there's not many cheerleaders out there. And some of us, are with partners who even are frustrated with us because we're trying to go for this passion and we're spending money and we're like, investing our time, and they're like, dinner is late, or they're like, I want to go on vacation and you can't because of this. It's a rough road oftentimes if your partner is not on your team, right? And these are things that we are constantly, someone's knocking at my door right now. These are things that, again, that we must be passionate about. We must have a vision. We must have our values in check and say, you know what? This is so embodied in me. This is the one voice that speaks the loudest to me. And I was just reflecting this morning and I was like, I think about my program, my Radical Embodiment Method, my Radiant Rebels membership, my Embodied Rebels membership, and I'm obsessed with it. Like, I'm like, I can't wait to I think about it a lot. I think about like the potential of it. I think about how it supports people. I think about, I really think about it a lot as I reflected this morning, as I was thinking about this talk. Hold on, someone's at my door. I'm sorry. Can you feel that? Maybe talk a little bit, Katie, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just so amazed with to what Amy is sharing. Because once you discover, I don't know if you notice that, Crystal and Carolee and Ken, like you it's like you like she was sharing, like you you have to be you first. I believe in God and Bible, and I believe about be, do, have. I don't know if you be, do, have. You cannot until you cannot have until you are who you are. Like be, do, have. Amy, right? I've
You
been
know,
learning about that. It's just a new discovery that I'm into the Bible, so I've been learning
yeah.
about. I don't know if you know Myron Golden, and he talk about the Bible and how everything got started. And that's how it is in a new awareness that I have that you need to be. You can if there's no way for you to have anything if you're not that person that who can
Yeah.
do the thing. And you
Well,
want
yeah. And, just like this, like, life is happening. That's my saying. Life is
exactly,
happening. you know,
absolutely,
you got to participate. Uh, participation, there's going to be more ups and downs.
yes,
And this is the real fear, that if you get out and participate, it's going to be hard. Guess what it is? It's harder than staying at home and watching Netflix. I mean, I've done that too, right? It's just like,
exactly,
or it's harder than, staying in a job that you don't like, or in a marriage you don't like. It's harder to, when you participate, it's tough out there. I'm not going to lie. I mean, that's
yes,
just, it's not going to do
absolutely.
anyone any good if I just say, oh, it's so easy. Guess
Mhm.
what? It's not. You're participating in something. That means if you participate in a sport, you're going to sweat, you're going to get hurt, you're going to, run, you're going to wait, you're going to have all these things going on. And with participation, again, you're outside of your comfort zone a lot of times. And so it's scary. But within that, you learn how to deal with the fear. You learn how to overcome this stuckness you feel. You learn how to really uh, become resilient, and also really stay true to yourself. I mean, oftentimes we've been asked to give up ourselves for so many things, for so many people. And this is, entrepreneurship, creating a business. It's got to be you first. You first, driving the helm, being creative, being resilient, and figuring out who and how you get to grow, how you get to grow, and who you get to be.
Absolutely, Amy. I think that's the hardest part. Like you discovering who you are, and then you go to an environment where people are not recognizing who they are, that they're capable, they're perfect the way they are. It's hard. It's like you say, it's very hard to recognize yourself that you're good enough.
Yeah. I mean, everything is already here, right? So everything is already here. And yet, I mean, oftentimes people don't know how to get something. And as I say, I do believe that understanding what values it's going to take to get there is very important. So, if you want to, you know, uh, build a funnel, right? All right, you want to build a funnel. What are some of the values you need to create that funnel? Like, who do you need creativity, because you need to understand, uh, have some creativity aspect to it. You need to have an understanding of an analytical understanding. You need to be precise on many levels on your messaging, on what they get, right? Once they download, go through the funnel. You need to have you need to be organized, and so that it creates a system, right? There's a lot of things that come into everything that are attached to values. Now, if organization is one of the things that needs to happen and you are not organized, you are you're, that's me oftentimes. I got so many ideas I'm like, I got like, my head is like, oh my God, I could do this. I'm thinking of all the time of these great ideas. I don't know if anyone can relate to this. And then not having that value of being organized, or even the value of being more analytical and less emotional, right? Less creative, right? And so these are, when you really think about, well, this is interesting. This is what values do I actually need to incorporate and grow and understand to get me to where I want to be. Right. And, what my core value is freedom. And so being this organized thing like this is often physically painful because it's going up against one of my core values. So we have to understand, like, okay, these are the things I desire. That's your vision, right? These are the values it's going to take to get there. These are my top 5 values. You must know your top 5 values. And you can compare also, like, what values might be getting in the way of that vision that I desire, right? And then what is it? Okay, so then from there, if you're like, oh, I need to be more organized, right? Let's just say that. Or I need more confidence, because that's my downloadable. I need more confidence. Okay, that's kind of vague. I need more what actually is confidence, right? Because I need to be more confident. Well, what does that actually mean to you, right? And this is through my radical embodiment method, which is the first step, which is reflection. Now, the reflection comes in an outward view of, well, what does a confident person actually feel like? Like, what do they do? How do they wake up in the morning? How are their relationships? Because they're confident. So first we must reflect and come up with our own definition of what confidence is. Because people say things all the time. Oh, I self-sabotage. Oh, I'm not worthy. Oh, I want more confidence. Oh, I just need to have more safety in my life, right? But if you ask people, like, what does it actually look like? What is a person who self-sabotage? What do they actually feel like? How do they run their life? What do they look, or confidence? People, whoa, I don't really know. So the step of the radical embodiment method is the reflection part, which is my downloadable. You'll get the reflection part. The reflection on confidence. What exactly is confidence to you? Because what I believe confidence is different from you, Katie, or you, Christelle, or Carolee, or everyone has their own version of it, right? So this is where the you becomes very important in your entrepreneurship. And what happens is, the more you understand yourself, the more you are able to give your message out clearly, the more confident you become, the more you draw in your people, right? Because you're speaking their language, which is your language, not someone else's language, right? And all of us have mentors, coaches, and we adopt their language oftentimes, but it doesn't reflect who we really are. And so oftentimes it falls short. So all of this is a process of, okay, I want this thing, I want this vision. The values that I need to get there are this, this, this. Now, break that down into, what does that value actually mean to me? Right? And then once you see it in someone else, you can start emulating it and be like, oh, That's what confidence is. So how can I implement that in my life? Right? Because oftentimes we don't participate. We observe. We observe it. We never take it in. And therefore, it doesn't translate into transformation. It doesn't translate in our messaging. It doesn't translate in our business because we are actually just seeing it, but not being it. So it's the being confident, the being open, the being free, the being organized, which, all of those things are the things that we need to strive for as entrepreneurs and business people.
Thank you so much, Amy. Oh my God. This is like a mastermind. Oh my God, so good. Amy, can you share with us how you work with people? I know you shared so many good things. Like it's amazing. Like how how can people find you? How you work with people? You work specifically with women, or?
I mainly work with women, and I have 2 memberships. I have the Radiant Rebel membership, which is, a $9 a month subscription, and you get a radical embodiment method. You get the reflection part and a journal, and 3 steps and a challenge each week. And then the Embodied Rebels are the live classes. The live classes are with me, and it is really, I take you through a lesson. Like we share our wins, and then we come up with a theme. So, each class is really geared towards that person and what they're going through at that time. And I take them through the radical embodiment method, which is reflect, release, re-envision, and then redesign. So we go through those things. I do some, they can ask me questions after the reflection, and we go from there. I do one-on-one coaching also, but mainly I'm really into my memberships and my serving women in a group setting, in a creative group setting. I'm a very creative person, being a dancer and educator and all that. So they can visit my website at amyshade.com, amyschadt.com. Also, I think there's a link in there. There's like amyshade.com, connect with Amy, and there's all kinds of downloadables on that, which are super fun. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So cool. I'm gonna post all the links now.
Yeah.
People can find. Is there anything, Amy, that you would like to add to this interview that we didn't discuss? Any encouragement that you wanted to say to somebody that is listening to us right now?
Yeah, I would say if you are on this journey of being an entrepreneur, don't compare yourself to others. Just don't do that. Get in a pod of women. Like every week I have a pod of women. This is my 3rd pod of women that we meet every week. Don't go it alone. And if you feel like, you're ready to push that button to do, to take, and then you're like, hesitating, just know that we all have to work on ourselves. We all have to learn about ourselves. We all have to overcome challenges. We all have to figure it out. And we all get to really create a space in our life that we're proud of, that we are, confident in, that we feel like, we're actually present in our life and living our life instead of focusing outside of us, whether it's a bad boyfriend, whether it's the world's, whether it's, a husband that you're not happy with, or the kids, we get off track. We need to stay on track. And we need to put ourselves first in a way that we are honoring who we are and honoring our mission and honoring our passions. So that's what I hope that, get a little inspiration out there.
Thank you so much, Amy. every time I listen to one of you, like I love doing this event, and I learn something new every time. That's so amazing. Thank you so much for everything you shared today, Amy. Thank you, and
Thank
everybody,
you, Katie.
Castile, Carolee, Ken Robinson. And we're about to have the last speakers. Is Lima. I don't know if she's on or not just on yet, but if you thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate your time, and let's do this.
Thank you,
Thank
Katie.
you, Amy. Thank you, Christelle, Carol, Kim Robinson. Let's do this. So yeah, if you have to leave. It's okay. You can leave. Carol, too. If you have to leave, don't worry. I don't want to keep you here.
Hang on,
It has been an amazing event.
hang on, I was listening and doing a couple
Yeah,
of
I
things
know.
around
Yeah.
the house. It's just so much to do, you know what I mean? But listen, I really enjoyed being here today, Katie, and I was so inspired by all the women here. And thanks again for having me, and just really looking forward to going forward. Send me your stuff. Keep me on your list. All right? Oh, yeah. Hang on. I'm not hearing you properly, but I'm not sure why. But
Oh, oh my God. I was unmuted. I was muted. When I
okay,
muted. Yeah, I'm gonna be posting out also over social media, and I will have all the links of you guys
great.
all over the
Oh, that's
place. So people
fantastic.
can find you.
You're just fantastic. You're really a good interviewer. You know, I've done a lot
Thank
of
you.
interviews too.
Sometimes I mess up with my English, but I try
Yeah,
my
I wouldn't
best.
worry about the English. That's gonna come. That'll come as it goes. But you know, like seriously, you've got a really good instinct for your questions, and that I felt that was
Thank you
really
so much. Thank you,
wonderful.
Kelly.
See you
I
in
appreciate you
action.
here.
Yeah, good job, man. Good stuff.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you, girl. Thank
See
you
you
for
later.
coming here.
Thank you too. You take care. It was an
You
honor to be
too, okay?
here.
Thank you so much, sister.
Bye.
Okay, bye. God bless you.
Bye.
We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back. Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me and see me. Can you hear me, Lima? Can? Hey, Lima.
Hello, how are you?
Good, you? I'm so excited to have you, Lima.
Thank you.
I don't have your bio. I should know this because you're my sister. But can you? I'm so excited to introduce you, my friend Lima McClellan. Can you share with us, Lima, who you are with everybody?
Yes, thank you for having me, Katie. My name is Lima McLean. I am a real estate investor and mentor. I teach students how to buy real estate with no money, no credit, no mortgage. Most of the students are business owners, realtors, doctors, professionals, 9-to-5 workers. I also have a speakers platform where I help speakers to get hit more stages so that they can get exposure for their businesses. I help speakers to get paid speaking opportunities from all over the globe as well. So anyone in business that needs, that extra boost for visibility, for exposure, definitely hitting more stages and speaking more is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, you help people with virtual events. If they wanted to host their own event. I love you, Lima.
Yes.
You're the one who needs. Lima, can you share with us your story? How everything got started?
Yes. As far as my real estate journey, I started real estate investing years ago when my son was very small. He was a baby, born with a blood clot in his brain. And it was like a grade 3. It was like one of the worst, that you could have. And I was a school teacher at the time. I just, I was praying every day because the Board of Education was threatening my job. And I knew I had to take care of my son. And I knew it was going to be a long journey that we were going to have. And so I just prayed to God and asked him, please show me what it is that I could do. And it was, amazing because I started to see everything about real estate investing. I started seeing real estate investing stuff on TV. I started, people, I would be, out somewhere and people were talking about real estate investing, like all of that. It just kept happening over and over. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to get a mentor, and which I did. And I'm going to start learning this, everything about real estate investing. This is what I'm supposed to do. And I did that. And so for the first 6 months, I put my head down and just studied real estate investing. I closed my first deal, and I went to the Board of Education right after I closed that deal. I quit my job, and I haven't turned back since. I've been investing in real estate ever since then.
So cool. A lot of people don't know this, that they can get an income out of, they don't have to have, you are the person, the right person to guide us. Like if you wanted, like you don't have to have, how's that you don't have to have like a lot of money to start in real estate? Can you explain to us a little bit more?
Yes, it's all in the different strategies that you use to buy real estate. Everyone's been conditioned to purchase properties the traditional way, which is to get your credit score up, to get a mortgage. We've been conditioned over the years that that's the only way to buy a property, whether it's to live in or even as an investment, and that's just not the case. You can do that if you want to go that route, but it's just not the case. It's not something you have to do each and every time that you acquire a property. So some of the strategies that I use are owner financing. That's one of my favorite strategies. There are a lot of little mini strategies that fall below that umbrella, but owner financing is one of my favorite ways to purchase properties. And when you purchase a property using owner financing, you don't have to have a mortgage. So that's one way that's really, really an awesome way for you to acquire a property with out getting a mortgage or credit or large lumps of money down.
Yeah, so cool. I heard another guy. I don't know. I think you know him, Glenn. I think you know him, right? Yeah, we were in a class, and he said like just a lot of people don't know this. You can even start with $100.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah,
Insane.
definitely. Oh, yes. Yes, for sure. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, Lima, can you? I know you're the expert in the real estate, but can you talk to us about how you work with people? I know you work in different variation. Can you talk to us how you work with people, different approach?
Yeah. As far as purchasing or with the students.
Yeah, like how people can work with you.
Yes. So like I said, I teach, business owners, professionals, realtors. A lot of realtors take my sessions because most realtors, I mean, as you know, they work another job. They know the traditional way of buying and selling properties that they learn in a 2 week, crash course that they take to get their license. And really they don't have the knowledge to help sellers sell their properties, and they don't have the knowledge to help a lot of buyers to buy more properties. So they're still stuck on the job, and they have the real estate license. So what I do is I help them to get past that by coming into my sessions, and I teach them and hand holding how to buy real estate using the strategies that I spoke to you about, with no money, no credit, no mortgage. And once they learn those strategies, they're able to apply those. And, a lot of situations where they can't help a seller the traditional way, or they can't help a buyer to get into a house the traditional way. They're able to do that from an investor standpoint, and still get them into a property and still make a commission at the same time.
Wow, that's awesome. So people from different aspect of the business can work with you. Like you can help anybody, like real estate, business aspect. I just love everything that you do, Lima. I love you, girl. I love you so much. Lima, is there
Yeah.
anything that you would like to add to this interview that we didn't discuss today? Anything that you wanted to add to the world? Any current encouragement? Anything?
Yeah, I would encourage everyone, even if you're not interested in becoming a real estate investor, even if you're purchasing a home or maybe a second home, even before you make that move and put down that 20% or that 30 or 40 or 50% and then get a mortgage, it would really do you well to take, that time to learn some of these real estate investing strategies, so that you can have that under your belt before you go out to get a mortgage, because at least you're armed with some knowledge and some wisdom, and you're able to guide the realtor. If you're working with a realtor, you're able to get, a really, really great deal on a property versus buying a property at market value. It's very important for not just investors, but everyone to really learn these strategies, because you're able to help your children to make better decisions when they go out to buy properties, when they get married, and to help them make better decisions. So it's really, really important, especially now in this day and age. The election is coming up. The market is really, it's awesome. I know the news is saying that it's bad, but not for real estate investing. There's never a bad time for real estate investing. You can always, there are millions of properties on the market. People are selling every day, and we can always come up with a way to help the seller sell their property, and we buy it and create a win-win situation. So I just would encourage everyone, reach out to me on Facebook. You can DM me. I'm always around. Just, come in and say hello. And if you have any questions, I'll answer them for you. I would love to see you in one of my sessions. It would be really, really awesome.
Thank you so much, Lima, for sharing all that you share. Thank you so much for being with us today. And where can people find you? Say Facebook. Do you have a website? Something can people also Facebook, but other people know.
Yeah, Facebook is the best way to find me. Just go on to Facebook to my profile, Lima McLean, Lima McLean, MacLean, and you could go through my profile. You could DM me, and then I can answer any questions you have. We can hop on a call together. So even if you're purchasing a property, I can answer any questions for you as far as the process and what it is that would be, a good idea for you going forward.
Thank you so much, Lima, for being with us, and all the speakers, amazing speaker that came to share so many amazing information. Thank you so much, Lima, and everybody. It was an amazing event today. And if you're watching the replay, just hit all these amazing speakers that can really help you go to the next level in your business, in your life, in real estate too. Thank you, Lima, and everybody else. Thank you, Ken, Hector, everybody, and all the speakers. Okay, thank you, Lima.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, Lima.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.